Welcome to Zed's podcast. In the previous episode, we discussed an interesting question: similarities between gold and rice and dissimilarities between paper money and rice. This podcast presents the answers. And these answers will take us through the differences between paper or digital money and gold money. Both gold and rice are natural creations, whereas paper or digital money are not natural. Gold and rice cannot be duplicated, whereas paper or digital money can be printed, duplicated, and multiplied exponentially. Hence, unlike gold and rice, value of paper money is always susceptible to manipulation. For commodities, value is assigned as per weight. For paper money, value is not assigned as per weight. Gold and rice appreciate in the long run, whereas paper or digital money depreciate. Gold and rice have an intrinsic value, whereas humans assign value to paper money, and it has no intrinsic value. Other difference between paper money and gold is that paper or digital money lead to centralization of global money and economic power in the hands of a few, whereas gold brings decentralization of wealth and economic freedom for the masses. Paper money discriminately boosts the purchasing power of the super elite, corporate clients of banks. This results in crisis of resources or inflation for the rest of the world. Whereas exchange between commodity money and the other commodities, that is, paying gold in return for rice or wheat or sugar or oil, does not lead to creation of undue purchasing power or money supply for the few. Why? Both gold and rice originate from a natural cycle across the world. Such exchange curbs global trade imbalances for commodities. Resources flow and scatter all over the world. Hence, no crisis of commodity resources for masses. So there's no crisis of resources for the masses. Therefore, no crisis, no inflation. Paper money has brought financial enslavement for the masses, which means you rely on a central power to govern your financial decisions. Whereas gold brings economic freedom for the masses, which means that you are independent to govern your financial decisions. Paper or digital money is theft. So what do they steal? Do they steal your money like a burglar? But they steal your purchasing power and give it to the super elite. The existing monetary policy has consolidated such global theft. So like the burglars, they do not steal your money, but they steal your purchasing power. It's a unique kind of a stealth. The only advantage of paper or digital currency over gold is that they are easy money, easy credit, convenient to transact with, whereas with gold, we cannot do online e-commerce as it is a hard money and not as convenient to trade with. This brings us to a priceless question. Do we want trade convenience at the cost of our economic freedom and growth pertaining to paper money? Or should we vouch for sufficient availability of resources, lower prices, better savings, and our economic freedom pertaining to gold as a currency? So we need to choose between the two. If such have been the benefits of gold as money, then why and how did we leave it? How did the world leave gold as a currency? What brought us to the lethal monetary policy of today? How did we become poor? We can say that had we not left gold as money, the masses would have been much richer than the existing financial status. The long prevalent successful monetary policy of gold was hijacked and transformed into paper by the banking system. And US dollars replaced gold completely as the global or base currency in the last century. The global central banking system itself has collected mountains of gold and left the world with fiat currencies and money that devalues every second. The tool was Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. What was the Bretton Woods Agreement and system? The Bretton Woods system was negotiated in July 1944 by 730 delegates from 44 countries at the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference held in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Thus, the name was Bretton Woods Agreement. Under the Bretton Woods system, gold was prohibited to be used directly as a means of trade. Rather, gold was made the basis for the US dollar, and other currencies were pegged to the US dollar's value. This is how US dollars replaced gold as money. The Bretton Woods system effectively came to an end in the early 1970s when President Richard Nixon announced that the US would no longer exchange gold for US currency. The Bretton Woods Agreement also created two important organizations, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. While the Bretton Woods system was dissolved in the 1970s, both the IMF and World Bank remained. The primary designers of the Bretton Woods system were the famous British economist John Maynard Keynes and American chief international economist of the US Treasury Department, Harry Dexter White. It wasn't until 1958 that the Bretton Woods system became fully functional. Once implemented, its provisions called for the US dollar to be pegged to the value of gold and all other currencies pegged to the value of US dollar. The exchange rate applied at the time set the price of gold at $35 an ounce. Since then, the USD has devalued by 97% as compared to the value of gold. The IMF and World Bank. Bretton Woods Agreement created two Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, formally introduced in December 1945. Both institutions have withstood the test of time. They have been globally serving as important pillars for international capital finance and trade activities. But have they been effective is the important question. The unequal distribution of wealth at such a dangerous level shows that these have been ineffective, that this monetary policy and these pillars of financial institutions and economic power have massively failed. The collapse of the Bretton Woods system in 1971 concerned that the US gold supply was no longer adequate to cover the number of dollars in circulation. President Richard Nixon devalued the US dollars relative to gold. After a run on gold reserve, he declared a temporary suspension of the dollar's convertibility into gold. In 1973, the Bretton Woods system had collapsed. The countries were then free to choose any exchange arrangement for their currency, except pegging its value to the price of gold. The Bretton Woods Agreement remains a significant event in the world of financial history. The two Bretton Woods institutions it created in the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank played an important part in helping to safeguard and empower the super elite of the world. Subsequently, both institutions have continued to maintain their evil goals to serve the super rich. This is evident by the results. Look at the poor distribution of wealth. The ongoing evil monetary system has put the world into colossal debts and financial slavery. It has brought us to the everlasting inflations. It has brought us to reduced financial worth and savings. It has brought us to the crisis and poverty. Remember that gold went to the central banking system. So they themselves collect mountains of gold. Indians, however, did a great job, as most of the Indian households have good collection of gold. Our advice to all of you is that do not sell off your gold until the world returns to gold as money, or donate it to the deprived if you want to donate. At this juncture, let's discuss a famous quote by Henry Ford. Henry Ford used to say that it is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. So this is how evil banking is. Direct donation to the deprived, or direct charity to a deprived population in the form of wealth, commodities, and resources would result in a healthy distribution of global wealth. Arrival of gold as global currency would also result in healthy distribution of global wealth, but guess what? They hate it. Hence, they have planned to replace US dollars with cryptocurrency. It is digital in its form. The world has been drastically taken to e-commerce and m-commerce as an electronic commerce and now mobile commerce, which is exactly what the super elite want. But digital currencies would bring economic genocide of the planet with sky-high inflation. So avert it as much as you can and strive for gold. Spread the word and save the global economy. Remember, they love gold and they hoard it, but they want you to lay it off. We are optimistic that mass conceptual economic awareness can bring gold back. We have reached the end of the podcast. Thank you for being with us. Feel free to type your feedbacks or questions in the comment box. Signing off for now. Goodbye.